This is Federalist 38, Part 7. This is the last part. In the previous part, I told you about David McCullough. He's a historian. He's a great storyteller. I said he is working on a book about the Northwest Ordinance that I mentioned in Part 6, which is very important in the early American history and how the system was set up right before the Constitution was written, okay, right at the same year actually, but on July 13th, I think it was passed by the Congress, that how to accept the new states into the Union from the territory that are going to be created from the land where we call Northwest Ordinance. So watch read his book if you can, but watch all his talks, especially the talk about this book, about the book on John Adams. Just make sure that you watch some of his videos. Okay, now here again, this is the Northwest Territory. So they wrote a law for this area. It's called the Northwest Ordinance, and this is the Ohio River, okay, and it's the territory north of the Ohio River, and they wrote down this law. They said, we're going to create a government for here, and when people come and settle here, when the numbers are high enough, they can apply to become a state. And the good thing is when they become a state and they enter the Union, they are accepted just like the first states of the Union. They are not going to be downgraded or anything like that. One important thing about this ordinance is that, number one, they came up with an idea of how to survey the land, measure different parts, and put those parts for sale. So that system of measurement later on kind of became the system that they used for the United States, along with some ideas that Thomas Jefferson had. And another important thing is that the north of the Ohio River became a free territory. In other words, they said, you're not going to allow slavery to expand here. And that becomes really, really important. One example that is important is that my favorite president, Abraham Lincoln, lived right here. He was born right around here. See, the very tip of state of Kentucky. This becomes state of Kentucky, this area. Even though it says Virginia here, but this area becomes Kentucky. And right here in the very bottom left corner here, right underneath the river, his parents decide to move north of the river. And he first goes to Indiana and then Illinois. And when the Civil War breaks, eventually he's a northerner and he doesn't like the spread of slavery. And he sides with the North. He's of course a northerner, and he eventually becomes the president of the of the United States during the Civil War. And he is the strong, determined, freedom-loving personality that keeps the Union together. So you will read about him later on, learn more about him. But I'm just talking about his parents went to the north of the river, and gradually he grew up in the area that would side with the North in the Civil War of the United States. Okay. Let me just finish the very last paragraph of Federalist number 38. That's where we got to, and it's a very short paragraph. I mean not by anything here said to throw censure on the measures which have been pursued by Congress. I am sensible they could not have done otherwise. The public interest, the necessity of the case, imposed upon them the task of overleaping their constitutional limits, but it is not the fact an alarming proof of the danger resulting from a government which does not possess regular powers commensurate to its objects. Again, he constantly says, you want a government that works for you, you have to give it enough authority to do its work. It has to have enough energy, he says. You cannot expect it to do a lot of things like in the Articles of Confederation and it not being able to do it, because that will lead into distrust between these states, and any little small thing can start a war amongst them, and then European powers, the British, the Spanish, the French, would love to see us distrust one another, and they will come and take advantage of it. They'll break us into parts, they'll come into and take advantage of our resources and keep us weak and dependent on them. So he says, is this what we want? A dissolution or usurpation is the dreadful dilemma to which it's continually exposed. So he keeps on reminding his countrymen that it's good to stay united, to accept this Constitution and create a strong union. Like I've already told you about libraryofcongress.gov. Definitely check out their website. You can see original material regarding the Northwest Ordinance, regarding everything about America. So you will have so many tools at your hands, that you can work with. They have a lot of videos, lectures. Those lectures are closed captioned, so you can actually see the text and improve your command of the English language. Make sure you take advantage of the CSPAN's website. It's probably one of the best things available to you to learn about the American civilization and to learn American history and complement what you're reading. Because I really, really think for you to get a good grasp of the Federalist Papers, it's good to listen to very good professors, credible professors, talk about early American history. And there's tons of material here in C-SPAN. Go to the series part, look at American writers, American presidents, the courts, book TV, American history TV, lectures in history, cities in the United States, artifacts. They have lots of stuff that you can learn from. And they also have the transcript of the talk, of the video. Sometimes it's not 100% accurate, but it's 99% accurate. It's excellent. So make sure you take advantage of these resources. I know I have mentioned this many times, but if you can, watch the 6-hour series, 6 episodes by PBS. It's called Liberty. Gives you the history of the American Revolution. The last part talks about what led to the Constitutional Convention. Since my map here and my video, as I've already told you, it's not, quality of video is not good at all. It's blurry. For you, especially if you're new to the United States, or if you're overseas and want to learn, just look at that. It gives you maps, shows you the personalities. It'll be a good learning experience for you.